On the outskirts of the city of Vasuki sprawled a dense, ancient forest, now fighting the final battle for its existence. The harsh grating of machinery and the terrible sound of falling trees echoed everywhere. The forest was being cleared for a massive industrial project. Suddenly, the contractor's raspy voice cut through all the noise. "What are you looking at? Stop daydreaming. Get up and start working. We only have 2 months to clear this entire forest." Frightened by him, the woodcutters scattered. The contractor left. The woodcutters picked up their respective axes and set out to cut the trees. There stood an immensely ancient and gigantic tree, like a veteran warrior counting his last breaths. Its height seemed to converse with the sky, and the girth of its trunk was so wide that 3 people together couldn't encircle it. The tree was half cut, and to prevent it from falling to one side, its upper part was tied with thick ropes in 3 directions. As another blow from an axe landed, the tree trembled once more. At that very moment, in an astonishing way, a human-like figure fell straight from the tree onto the ground, but the figure immediately stood up. It was a human, but completely naked. His body was marked with dirt and wounds. His hair and beard were so long and tangled that his face was barely visible, except for 2 gleaming eyes that held a strange wildness and bewilderment. For a few moments, he looked at the woodcutter in front of whom he had fallen. His gaze moved from the woodcutter's face to the axe held in his hand. A strange, terrified scream escaped the woodcutter's mouth. The mysterious person didn't wait a second. He turned with the speed of a deer and ran towards the dense forest so swiftly that he vanished in the blink of an eye. Hearing the scream, the other woodcutters came rushing over. Second woodcutter, panting, "What happened, man? Why did you scream like that?" First woodcutter, in a trembling voice, pointing towards the forester, "A man was here, completely naked, totally wild, very frightening." Second woodcutter, looking around, "Where is he? Where did he go just now?" First woodcutter, "He ran away, that way, inside the forest." Second woodcutter, laughing a disbelieving laugh, "Ari. Must be some tribal whose home you cut down. What's there to be afraid of? Come on, get back to work, otherwise the boss will come again and we'll be in trouble." All the woodcutters kept looking towards the forest, frightened and suspicious, then slowly returned to their work. In the heart of the dense forest flowed a waterfall, its water clean and clear as crystal. The man, tired and covered in dust, reached the edge of that waterfall. In the mirror-like water, he saw his reflection, a troubled, bearded face that told the story of many days of travel. He scooped up water with his hands and drank, then poured the cold, fresh water over his entire body, as if wanting to wash away not just the grime from his body, but also the filth from his past life. The scene around the waterfall was worrying. The cut trunks of large trees lay around, silent testaments to human apathy. Then his gaze fell on a broken axe head near a tree stump. The pointed piece of iron was still sharp. He picked it up, and looking at his reflection in the waterfall, began to clean his beard and moustache with that very fragment. With every stroke, he was erasing his old self. By the time he emerged from the forest, he had completely changed. The clean-shaven face had totally altered his age. He no longer looked like an unknown tribal or a wandering sage, but a youth of almost 20 years. A paved road lay ahead, where a vehicle passed occasionally. He hid behind a tree and began to wait. After a long time, a boy his own age, riding a bicycle, appeared on that deserted road. This was an opportunity for him. He suddenly stepped onto the road and stopped the boy. The bewildered boy was about to stop when the very next moment, a powerful punch landed on his jaw. Without a single word, without a sound, the boy fell to the ground unconscious. Shanti acted swiftly. He dragged the unconscious boy and hid him behind the bushes, so no one would see him. Then, he took off the boy's modern clothes, the t-shirt and jeans, and put them on himself. In the new clothes, he was completely transformed into a new person. For a moment, he looked towards the unconscious boy, then, without looking back, he directed his steps towards an unknown city and unknown people. An old life was left behind, and a new, unknown journey was beginning. 20-year-old Smita was sitting in the small courtyard of Hotel Nandanvan with her 2 friends, Apurva and Nikita. The hotel was just a small roadside eatery with 5 or 6 tables placed outside in the sun, and 4 old chairs scattered around each table. The aroma of fried samosas and tea hung in the air. Even though she was lost in her friend's conversation, Smita's eyes were restlessly wandering around. Then, a figure emerged from the far corner of the road. It was a tall, well-built young man, his height seeming no less than 6 feet. His complexion was fair, wheatish. But more than that, his manner of walking caught Smita's attention. He was moving forward at an extremely slow, almost crawling pace, as if testing the ground before taking every step. His eyes, a deep blue color, were gazing at everything: trees, passing vehicles, seated people, with a wonderful, childlike curiosity. His thick, long hair was flying in the wind. The stranger went straight to the table near Smita where 2 men were sitting and, without a word, picked up a half-eaten sandwich from their plate and started eating. Silence fell for a moment. Then, one of the men roared, "Hey! What do you think you're doing?" The boy just looked at him, as if the sound hadn't even reached him, and took another bite of the sandwich. Seeing this disregard, the faces of the 2 men flushed with anger. One shoved him hard. He fell off the chair. "Can't you hear? Are you deaf?" the other one shouted angrily. Lying on the ground, he uttered a few words in Sanskrit and tried to pick up the fallen sandwich. Just then, another powerful kick landed on his hand and the sandwich flew away again. But by then, it was too late. Those ancient Sanskrit words had reached Smita's ears. A storm rose in her heart. Who is he? Why is he speaking Sanskrit? Is he mad? But his eyes don't hold madness, rather a strange innocence. She had no time to think. She immediately stood up. "Stop! Don't hit him," she said, ignoring her friend's attempts to stop her, and placed herself between the 2 men and the boy. "Why are you interfering, madam?" one man asked irritably. "Let him go." "He doesn't understand our language," Smita said firmly. The other asked with a mocking smile, "And how do you know that, madam?" "Because I know Sanskrit," Smita replied calmly. "He just said in Sanskrit that he is very hungry. I apologize on his behalf. I'll get you fresh food, please let him go." Smita's polite yet firm voice and her reasoning doused the impulsiveness of the 2 men. Embarrassment and shame replaced the anger on their faces. One said, "No, madam, that's not necessary. You just take care of this gentleman. That is enough." Smita bent down, took the boy's hand, and brought him to her table. Her friends were watching the scene in amazement. Now the 2 of them were talking in Sanskrit. "You don't know Hindi?" Smita asked. "No," he replied simply. "What is your name?" "Shanti." "Where are you from?" "I have come from the dense forest nearby." Smita's mind was reeling. She pointed to Shanti's modern t-shirt and jeans. "How is that possible? People living in the forest don't wear clothes like this." "I'm telling the truth," Shanti said, his voice devoid of any deceit. "I got lost in the forest and ended up here. These clothes are not mine." "And how do you know Sanskrit?" "No one speaks it anymore. In our village everyone speaks only Sanskrit. It is our mother tongue." Smita couldn't believe it. It felt like some incredible mystery. "What will you do now? How will you go back?" "I don't want to go back," Shanti said firmly. "I will stay here." "Here?" Smita laughed incredulously. "What will you do here? You'll keep getting beaten up like today. It's better to go back. You must not have seen the forest." A deep sadness seeped into his voice. "However harsh this world is, it's better than the loneliness and dangers there. I cannot go back." "Then what will you do?" "I need your help. Teach me the language of this place." "No," Smita refused immediately and stood up from her chair. "It's not possible." "Let's go," she said to her friends. Then something unexpected happened. Shanti got up and fell at Smita's feet. He held her feet. "Don't say that," his voice was pleading. "Only you can help me." In return, until I learn your language, I will stay as your servant. I will obey your commands.
No. This can't happen,
Smita said, freeing her foot, and started walking quickly towards her car. Her friends ran after her. What happened? What was he saying? Apurva was breathless. Smita briefly explained everything. So you refused? Have you gone crazy? Apurva shrieked.
Just look at him.
He is so handsome. Those blue eyes?
I got lost in them.
And did you see his hands? Just like a warrior's.
How could you refuse a boy like that?
Nikita, who was a bit more sensible, said, don't get carried away by Apurva's words, but Smita, I also think you should help him. Otherwise, he'll really keep getting beaten up for no reason. And think, he's ready to become your servant. That's no small thing. Smita stood for a few moments, her mind in conflict. Then, making a decision, she turned to look. Shanti was still standing there, his eyes fixed on Smita with hope. Smita gestured towards him with her hand. She returned and said in Sanskrit, all right, I will teach you. But on the condition that you will do exactly what I say. Without any questions. Shanti nodded gravely. An unknown, mysterious journey was beginning. All four of them got into Smita's car and headed towards the college, where a new world was waiting for Shanti. Please like, subscribe and press bell icon for next video.